Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're situated on this great, big, beautiful blue globe floating through the void of Yah's creation. It's Friday, TGIF. It's the 8th of August, 2025. As always, holding the legacy mainstream media's feet to the fire because they manipulate, they massage, they propagandize, and they lie. And guess what, buddies? You won't be trusted anymore. All right, welcome to the Friday edition of the WTF Reports. I'm your host, Dave vonKleist, and as always, I'm well documented and on the record for 3 decades of having no love for the mainstream media or the two wings of the same bird, the Republicrats and the Demopublicans. We all know who they're working for. It's becoming painfully obvious now that, those elected officials are not serving you, the constituency. They follow the money. Yeah, they love the money. They love the power. And it's common sense should tell you, good people don't lust for money and power. So if good people don't lust for money and power, who ends up with all the money and power? Bad people. This is not rocket science, folks. This is not, you don't have to be a brain surgeon to figure this out. And don't tell me, oh, well, what do you know? Where's your degree? Where's your diploma? Where's your certificates? Where's your licenses? I'm sorry, that doesn't work anymore. You don't have to be a registered, certified, and licensed pyrotechnic expert to have a valid claim of fire. It's not hard. And the American people, I don't care what walk of life you come from, people all over this country are seeing the trouble that this country is in. And you know why? It's because most of us, I would say 99% of us, including a lot of the activists, have been sitting on their hands for all this time. Now, if this is supposed to be a government of, by, and for the people, what kind of government are you going to end up with when the people back away from the table? They're supposed to be active participants. But if they're not participating, who ends up playing the game? As they say, when the cat's away, the mice will play. Well, in this case, it's the rats. But that's where we're at, folks. If you want to know why this country is so messed up, we just need to go, like Michael Jackson said, I'm looking at the man in the mirror. It's our own fault that things have gotten so bad. And I'm sorry, a lot of you folks are going to get upset with me and get PO'd at me. I'm sorry, but that's just a simple fact of life. And I'm just as guilty as most have ever have. I don't know all the members of the council members in my town council. I don't know I know a couple of them, but I don't know all of them. And no, I don't go to all the town council meetings. Most Americans don't. You pick it up and you read whatever it is that they put in the newspaper or what somebody tells you. Hey, did you hear what happened at the council meeting or the town hall the other day? I'll be the first one to admit, no, I don't keep a close eye on that. I mean, a peripheral eye, yeah. But most of us are basically just going along to get along, trying to find a second nickel so we have 2 of them to rub together. But again, this is our own doggone fault because we should have been more involved, years and years and years ago. And I did say that I was going to have open lines on Friday, so that you heard the ringy dingy. There it is. Okay, caller, who are you and where are you calling from?
Okay, you've got a whole hour to spend on the phone with me, right? Just kidding.
Oh, you mean you're good? Okay, go ahead, Cynthia.
Well, I do, but you do go well with a cup of coffee. Anyway, this is Melissa in Maryland,
Melissa.
And I don't need to.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't need to spend a lot of time on this, but and I don't know whether it's like this in all 50 states. But it does have to be addressed that the DMV has a monopoly on photo IDs. It's not okay.
No, you're right. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that, out of all of the places that I'd like to be able to go and get a photo ID from, the health department, the elections office, the library, the courthouse, the hospital, out of all of the places that I'd like to be able to go and get an ID from, The DMV is the only one that, I could go get a passport. That's a separate issue. And they've got their own rules for issuing passports.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying that, if you're going to go to it's not okay that the DMV has a monopoly on IDs, and that's going to have to be addressed because they make you bring them this thick pile of paperwork, and you might not have access to it.
Well, you're right. Most people's photo ID is basically the driver's license. And as you also mentioned, the passport, those are the two major forms of ID that are accepted in this country. And you could have a...
And it's kind of like having a monopoly on currency, because I would like to see bartering go on more too, but it's hard to find barter, and I'd like to see everybody get off of the currency mentality.
Mm-hmm.
But... I'm just sharing that with you, that I'm not sure how many states that happens in, but it's just not okay that the DMV has a monopoly on that. And I'll just share something else with you.
Okay.
That's an aside. It's a separate issue. That, the DMV asks for a lot of paperwork in order to issue the ID. Just a lot of paperwork that you might not even be able to get your hands on. They assume for some reason that you have access to it, and you might not be able to get your hands on it. But the other part of that is that puts, even though the DMV, has several locations, that basically puts all the residents' information in one place.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the DMV is all there in one kit and a caboodle. And, so it's you have to question whether or not all the state resident information should be in one place like that.
Well, you're absolutely right, because 20 years ago everybody was screaming about the possibility of the deep state demanding that we all have a national ID, and of course all of your information would be stored on there, your health information, your all of your health records, your financial stuff, all digitized and onto an ID card. And everybody said no way, that's an intrusion into privacy and everything. But now they've got everybody convinced that we have to have voter ID, a photo ID, a voter card, and that voter card will be just as digitized as the new driver's license. So either way you slice it, our privacy is going right out the window because they digitize everything. So
yeah, I just if you think that you can address that in your state, please do, because there would be nothing wrong with the state sitting there saying, dividing the alphabet and dividing the residents, and sitting there and saying, okay, if you're A through F, then you go to the health department to get your ID. And if you were J through L or J through M or something, then you go to the library to get your ID. And if you're P through Z, then you go to the hospital to get your ID. And if you were, J through L or whatever it is, T through Z, then you go to the courthouse to get your ID. I just don't understand why it's not divided among several places. So, if nothing else, that it's not all in one place.
Yeah, I suppose there's something to be said with consistency, but I think the issue that would be brought up is how do you coordinate all those different agencies and all those different IDs? So I suppose there's two sides to that particular coin, but you bring up a very valid point, because everybody's got to have ID, and like you said, the DMV appears to have the monopoly on that particular issue. So I don't know the solution to it, but I do know that I don't want digitized ID. I don't want a chip with all my information on a card. that somebody can walk by and have some sort of a reader and just go whoosh and get all of your information, including your passwords and your account numbers and all that stuff. No, that's not that's a direct violation of the Fourth Amendment. So anyway, I appreciate your contribution, and I'm glad that you brought that to the table, because that is an issue that we all have to deal with.
Okay.
Okay, Melissa, thank you so much for your call. I appreciate it. You take care. Have a beautiful weekend.
Bye.
God bless. Bye-bye.
I'll try to do that. Bye.
Do your best. All right, yes, and if you'd like to join the conversation, you're welcome to do so. The phone number here is 215-867-8255. And a quick reminder that we broadcast live from 2 p.m. until 3 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 11 a.m. to 12 noon Pacific, and of course do the math for the time zones in between. And if you're listening during those times, that means we are live, and you can call in, and that's 215-867-8255. Now, this broadcast is, of course, replayed numerous times on the Red State Talk Radio Network, so if you're listening at any of those other times, or if you're listening through the website with the archives, obviously we are not live, so you cannot call in. But if you're listening live, yeah, you're welcome to do so, and we are having open lines Friday. Okay, so in the meantime, I got to tell you, yesterday I was fist pumping. I was so excited because Marjorie Taylor Greene was visiting with Matt Getz on his news broadcast on the OAN television network. And she, along with Tom Massey, to the best of my knowledge, are the only two congressional representatives who are not taking money, or shall I say bribes, from AIPAC. And I'm so glad that she took this stand, because we've got to understand how badly this country has been taken over. And I've been calling this the United States of Israel for quite some time, because that's exactly what it is. Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene discussing this issue with Matt Getz last night.
The reason I invited you on is because I think you really diagnose things well ahead of time, and you are concerned about the Republican Party betraying some of the values of America First that President Trump ran on, and that you've really been a standard bearer for in the House of Representatives. And in lieu of that, we got to talk about AIPAC attacking you, sending out fundraising emails saying that you are not acting in the interests of our country. Marjorie Taylor Greene, your reaction to AIPAC's fundraising emails attacking you?
Yeah, Matt, I'll go ahead and be straight and honest about this. I'm absolutely furious. And as a matter of fact, AIPAC needs to register as a foreign lobbyist, because they're breaking U.S. laws by donating to members of Congress and by taking them on a fully funded trip to Israel every single freshman member of Congress's year. They just took them over just recently and had them meet with the Prime Minister of Israel. But let's frame that correctly. They take them over to meet with the secular government of nuclear-armed Israel. Israel, who is in less than $400 billion in debt. Israel, who has taxpayer-funded health care and college. Israel is not hurting, and they've already proven that they are more than capable of not only defending themselves, but annihilating their enemies to the point of genocide. And that's what's happening in Gaza. And Matt, the reason why AIPAC is attacking me is because I dared to tell the truth. Well, Matt, you and I are good friends. We served together in Congress, and you know that I have taken zero money from AIPAC. As a matter of fact, I am so unapologetically American. I have a sign on the door of my office that tells all lobbyists, foreign lobbyists, to stay out of my office, and that they have to follow the law. They have to follow the law and register as a foreign lobbyist and be clear about what country they represent, because I represent America. As a matter of fact, I've been saying America first for a long time, but I'm getting to the point of saying America only. And I'll tell you why, Matt. It's because pretty much if you're under the age of 40, you have no hope for the future. We're $37 trillion in debt. People can't afford to buy a house. They can't afford rent. They can't afford insurance. They can't afford their bills. And we have HB1 visas stealing all these American jobs. And I'm sick and tired and fed up with it. So if AIPAC, who donates, by the way, to more Democrats than Republicans, as a matter of fact, they're all for Democrats, but they do donate to Republicans as well. But listen, if AIPAC wants to come after me and accuse me of betraying my American values, AIPAC you know what? You can bring it on. I am totally ready for this. And this is a fight that I will fight, and I will give it my all. And I can guarantee you, you're going to lose, because America is fed up, Matt. They're fed up to here with funding foreign wars, funding foreign causes, funding foreign countries for foreign reasons that have nothing to do with Americans, while Americans work their ass off every day and pay their taxes and come home and they're living paycheck to paycheck and their credit cards are maxed out. I don't care anymore. I honestly don't care. So I'll burn this bridge to the ground, and I will let the flames light the way, and because this is a fight that needs to happen.
If we were still in Congress, I would just say I associate myself with the comments of the gentlelady from Georgia, because everything you said there is factual and true, and at times unpleasant for people to hear.
Well, you know what? I applaud Marjorie Taylor Greene for the stand that she's taking. And I believe that every member of Congress and the Senate who has taken money from AIPAC should return the money and return their dedication and their allegiance to the United States of America. And by the way, Mr. Getz, let me see. I've got it here someplace. I have an entire list of many of the members of Congress who have taken money from AIPAC. Let me see. Where is it here? Where's Mr. Getz? Where is he? Because he has taken money from AIPAC, and I just can't seem to find it here. Matt Getz. Where is it? Well, I'll just look it up right now, and you can do it too. As a matter of fact, if you go to trackapac.com, and then it says you can search your Congress. So I open up that window, and here I go. It's Matt Getz, G-E-T-Z. I think. How do you spell that, Matt Getz? I can't figure out how do I spell that. Anyway, I believe that you should look up your congressman and then contact his office and say, hey, look at. I would suggest you return every penny that you got from AIPAC, and then serve the United States, because that's what they're supposed to do. You know, that's what you elect them to do. So, and not only that, I believe that that every member of Congress should be banned from trading stocks while they are in office. That's another thing. So, I mean, these are common sense moves that I can think of. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there because I think that Marjorie Taylor Greene is dead nuts on the money. As a matter of fact, there are a lot of Jewish rabbis that feel the same way that I do, and they don't want AIPAC or Israel to be controlling our country. They understand the difference of Zionism. As a matter of fact, here's a Rabbi Moshe Silverstein, and he had this to say about it.
AIPAC is not a Jewish organization. Who appointed them as representatives of the Jewish people or the Jewish community? And who elected their officials? As American Jews, we are loyal to this country. We vote for the benefits of the United States. We have no dual loyalty. The only fact which deems a group Jewish is if they actually follow the Torah and what Judaism dictates. Let them call themselves whatever name they want, but certainly not Jewish.
That's right. They are Zionists, and Zionism is not Judaism. As a matter of fact, I have another comment from another rabbi. This is Rabbi Yisrael Dovid, D-O-V-I-D, Dovid. And it's Yisroel, Y-I-S-R-O-E-L, Yisroel Dovid. And here's what he has to say about Zionism and AIPAC.
Well, it's critical all the time to be outspoken with the help of the Almighty against this terrible crime of the occupation, the bleeding people of Gaza. And it's being done in the name of religion. That's why the world is condoning it, or at least they're silent what's happening. And as Jews, we find it obligatory, it's critical. We speak up and say that what they're doing is criminal. Our religion is a religion of Judaism is 3,000 years. Zionism is a mere 100-odd years. The movement and the state is 75 years. How could they dare claim they're speaking in the name of our religion, which says that we're not allowed to kill or steal? We're not allowed to occupy. We're not even allowed to have a state since 2,000 years ago, since the destruction of the temple. So their whole issue is blatantly contradictory to my religion. Yet they are powerful. AIPAC, American Israeli Political Alliance Committee, has power and money. And with money, you can buy the court systems, you can buy politicians, and that's what they're doing. So we have to be out here and let them hear, and that they should not be intimidated, because what happens is the politicians are fearful they'll be labeled anti-Semitic. We have to have the world hear that AIPAC is criminal, their money is criminal, and their accusations and intimidation of politicians, whoever wants to have any feeling for Palestine, it's criminal, because pro-Palestinian is pro-peace. Pro-Israel is anti-Semitism. They're the cause of blood of the Palestinians and Jews. Mm-hmm. The rift between Jews and Muslims. We've been living together in peace. Nobody could deny our 75 years of, not 75 years, but hundreds of years of coexistence. So it's only Zionism that has destroyed this beautiful fabric. That's why we're here. God will help that the world will hear eventually, because the truth will always come to the top.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I remind you, way back 100 years ago, long before the establishment of the State of Israel, Christians, Muslims, and Jews all lived in the Middle East without much conflict at all. Yes, there were some skirmishes and there were some disagreements and stuff like that, but no, for the most part, there wasn't this dysfunctional hatred of each other. This has all been generated through the media, and of course the media is controlled by a particular ethnic group. And it's interesting that they're pitting the Christians versus the Muslims right now, and then there's this other ethnic group that's sort of sitting on the side and saying, yeah, that's sort of what they're doing, right? But they're saying, there's so much hatred that's generated by Israel. And, I hear some of these spokespersons from Israel say, well, look at if the Palestinians would just stop trying to kill us, stop trying to just be nice to us. Well, wait a second. I've seen the videos that were taken inside of the classrooms of some of these schools in Israel, and the kids are like 9 years old, 10 years old, and they're asked, what do you feel when you see an Arab? And they say, I hate them. And the teacher goes, yeah, very good, very good. Yes, what about you? Oh, I want to spit on them. Very good, yeah. They're taught to hate. They are taught that the Palestinians and the Arabs are subhuman. That's their belief system. I mean, it's in the Talmud. And we've quoted from the Talmud in the past. I could pull up a couple of things here. They are taught that they are, yes, God's chosen people, and if you're not one of them, you're not even human. You're a dog, less than a dog. You are goyim. And you wonder why everybody hates. There's so much hatred. As a matter of fact, there was a Palestinian that made the following statement. It makes way too much sense. Listen to this.
If a Palestinian boy watches his parents get shot in the head, his siblings getting exploded into pieces, his home destroyed, can we be surprised if this boy grows up and joins the only resistance that's giving him a chance of stopping the oppression he faces? Can we be surprised if he revolts against the government that's oppressed him his whole life? When pro-Israeli people are confronted with the death toll and the starvation rates in Gaza, they always say the exact same thing. Teach the Palestinian people not to hate Israel. Teach Palestinian children to not grow up hating the Israeli government.
Well, how about the Israelis teaching the Palestinians by being nice to them? You do everything that you can to the Palestinians to make them hate you, and then you complain about it like you're a victim. Where have we heard that before? Victim mentality.
How can we expect these people to love the ones that are oppressing them? How can we expect these people to make peace with those who are starving them? You can't go into a country, strip the Palestinian people of their basic rights, starve them, force them into specific neighborhoods, and then get mad when they revolt. The American people are always so quick to condemn the Palestinian revolt, yet they're never willing to look at the conditions that force those Palestinian people to take up arms.
No kidding.
The solution is not to teach Palestinian children to love Israelis, but it's to stop the oppression that they face that makes them grow up wanting to take arms against this government in the first place.
Yeah, stop giving them a reason to hate you. I mean, this is like stupid simple. But I'll tell you, they got everybody so brainwashed. And I am so sick to death of hearing our elected officials saying, Israel's our greatest ally. I wonder how much they paid you to say that. And oh, by the way, while Congress is out of town right now, where did they go? They've all been shipped over to Israel. Yeah, an all expense paid trip to Israel. And they're all over there, being wined and dined, and they're probably being briefed, you're going to play games with us because if you don't, something terrible could really happen to you. Because blackmail, there's those three words.
Bribery, coercion, blackmail.
Bribery, let's cover that one. How about AIPAC? That's exactly what it is. You can call it lobbying if you want, but it's bribery. And let me remind you, let's take the clock back a few decades. Remember JFK? Yeah, he was assassinated, and of course they publicized, one of the reasons that he was assassinated is because he issued United States notes and he was going to go after the Federal Reserve. Yes, that was a valid point, and we've heard about that one. Oh, and also JFK wanted to expose the secret societies and all that stuff. Yes, we've heard about that one as well. Yes, and JFK said he wanted to splinter the CIA into 1,000 pieces and cast them to the wind. Yes, we've heard that as well. Well, there's a couple of other reasons why JFK may have been taken out. First one happens to do with the American Zionist Committee for Public Affairs. Yeah, that was a lobbying group that was paying off Congress, and JFK wanted them to register with FARA, the Foreign Agency Registration Act. Agency, whatever. And they didn't like that. No. We don't want to register with FARA. We don't want to be recognized as foreign agents. So that sort of pissed them off. And, of course, you don't hear about that too much. You hear about the Federal Reserve issue and the secret societies issue, and the CIA issue, but you're not told about the fact that he was challenging the Israelis to register with FARA. Now, the other big reason is because he wanted UN inspectors to go in and check out their nuclear facilities. And they didn't like that either. As a matter of fact, Ben-Gurion, who was the prime minister of Israel at the time, he was very upset about that. And so, hey, look when you go after their lobbying and you go after their nuclear, I think those are probably the biggest reasons why maybe he was taken out and assassinated. So, of course, Israelis would never do that. We have nothing to do with the assassination. That was a lone crazy gunman. It was Lee Harvey Oswald. Yeah, he was a lone gunman. Okie dokie. And the Americans said, okay. They went right along with it. Anyway, quick pause for the cause.
Get More Tank will save you money every month on gas. Get More Tank is a tablet with active ingredients that adds big mileage to every tank. Made in America, the Get More Tank formula is used by trucking companies and heavy industry. Now the Get More Tank formula is available to you. Get More Tank works in any gas or diesel engine, cleans your engine, lowers emissions, and you'll feel improved engine performance every time you step on the gas. Get More Tank works for cars, trucks, boats, motorcycles, four-wheelers, mowers, and blowers. Hey, if you got an engine, then Get More Tank. Contractors, electricians, plumbers, plumbers, painters, and lawn service companies, Get More Tank will save you money and extend the life of your engines. If you're an owner-operator running your big rig around the town or across the country, Get More Tank will save you money too. If you're a farmer, all of your equipment can use Get More Tank. A 5-pack on sale at GetMoreTank.com for just $22.22 plus shipping. Use the promo code REDPILL101 and get 10% off. Save your money, save your engine, save the earth at GetMoreTank.com. Get More Tank is EPA registered, doesn't void warranties, results vary.
And you can get more Tank by visiting our website. Go to TheWTFReports.com. Don't forget the word the, T-H-E, TheWTFReports.com. Click on the sponsors page, and it'll take you down to a window where you can click on Get More Tank. It'll give you all the specifics and all the information about why and how this stuff works and why it's so good for your vehicle. It doesn't make any difference what year, make, or model that you've got, because if you start using this in your fuel, you will notice better engine performance. Your engine will burn cleaner, and after a couple of tanks, you're going to start to see some serious mileage improvement. And anywhere between 15 and 20%. Now do the math. If you're getting 20% better mileage, that means after 5 tanks, the 5th tank is free. And it costs you $20 for 5 tablets. So, I mean, it's a no-brainer. You spend $20 and you save a whole tank of gas. This is a win-win situation, folks. So if you're not using Get More Tank, what's the matter you? You got to try this stuff out. I promise you, it works. So go to our website, TheWTFReports.com, and Get More Tank. And while you're there, you might want to check out the Wave Watch as well. Of course, based upon Rife technology, and frequency is everything. That's what Nikolai Tesla told us. This is a Rife machine you wear on your wrist. It's good. It works. And it's not here to tell you it's going to treat or cure anything that you might be suffering from, but it sure as heck is going to help. It helped me. It's helped the people that I've loaned it to, and it can help you too. So check out the Wave Watch. You'll be glad that you did. Okay, back on the issue. Oh, yeah, once again, the phone number here, it's Open Lines Friday. You want to call in? You're welcome to do so. 215-867-8255. All right, getting back onto the matter at hand. I'm pounding my fist on the desk here. We've got to somehow get America to wake up, because we have been taken over by the lobbyists, by AIPAC, by Israel. This is the United States of Israel at this point. And you're going to have a hard time convincing me otherwise. As a matter of fact, Anna Kasparian from the Young Turks, she has been on fire lately. And she's spitting truth bombs out here. And there's no holding her back either. Here she is.
And for any Israelis watching this right now, I want you to be clear. I want you to understand this, okay? Because others are very afraid. I get the IDF sending me pictures of their weapons, talking about how they're gonna slaughter me. I'm not afraid of you. Not afraid of you, okay? All the other cowards in American media, they can F off. They're not like me. I'm different. I'm not afraid of you, okay? So while you're cashing checks that are funded by my tax dollars and the tax dollars of my fellow Americans, I need you to understand something clearly. You are hated internationally. Hated. Don't be mistaken based on the propaganda you hear in American media. That's not representative of how the American people feel about you. You're hated. And it's not because you're Jewish. It's because you slaughter innocent people. It's because you think you're God's chosen people when you act like absolute demons. That's the reality. The whole international community loathes you. Young American citizens in this country, both left and right, loathe you. And eventually, these are the people who are going to come into power. So I think Israel's days are numbered as it pertains to America backing its disgusting, loathsome behavior. Its war crimes, its slaughter of innocent people.
Yeah, it is. That's exactly what it is. And I don't know, early on, several years ago, I would listen to the Young Turks and I'd say, oh my gosh, they're bleeding heart liberals. And in some cases, in some issues, yes, they do lean far to the left, and I don't necessarily go along with them. However, lately, I'll tell you, Anna Kasparian, she has been making the rounds. Of course, she's being labeled as an anti-Semite, which is horse hockey, and we all know that. And again, I remind you, it is the Palestinians who are the Semites. And it is the Israelis who are the anti-Semites. Just go do some research and you'll figure that out. I've mentioned it many times. Johns Hopkins University did an ancestry study and found 97.5% of Israelis are from Eastern European and North American descent. They are not indigenous. However, 80% of the Palestinians are, which means the Palestinians are the Semites and the Israelis are the anti-Semites. So everything is bass-ackwards in this clown world that we're living in. So how do they get away with it? How do they convince all of our members of Congress and all of our government officials, and not just them, but CEOs and presidents of all of the major businesses in this country, whether it be Hollywood or television or big pharma or big agri or big oil or whatever. Look at which ethnic group that they are tied to. Now, if we've only got 3% of the U.S. population who claim to be Jewish, how is it that 99% of all of the industries that I just mentioned are permeated with those of that ethnic proclivity? Well, maybe this is the answer here.
If you've ever wondered why all the most powerful people in the world seem to bow at the same altars, there's a reason. It's not democracy, it's not patriotism, it's leverage. The real world is not run by voters, it's run by compromise. By secrets, by blackmail, and those with the deepest files hold the real power. Enter Jeffrey Epstein. Not just a creepy billionaire with a thing for underage girls and private airplanes. He was a cutout, a handler, a honeypot, working for both the CIA and Mossad. Epstein's island was not a playground, it was a trap. The most powerful people in Hollywood, business, and politics were flown out to his island, wined, dined, and filmed. Every sin, every weakness, every moment was recorded. And that footage, it wasn't for Netflix, it was sold and traded for blackmail to Israel. Whitney Webb's masterpiece, One Nation Under Blackmail, a 2-volume series, lays this out meticulously in specific detail. And not theories, documents, histories, names. If you want to know what's really going on in the world, I suggest you read it. And that's why you see unshakable obedience to certain agendas. Why politicians on both sides of the aisle suddenly fall silent. Why Hollywood elites preach freedom but worship control. And why there's a particular group of people you cannot question or criticize. Because the strings are being pulled by people who were never elected. And the ones in front of the camera? They're just actors terrified of the footage, of the fallout, and of the truth actually getting out. So when you wonder why your leaders are selling you out, while they're voting for foreign wars, while your streets fall apart, it's not incompetence. It's not bad policy. It's blackmail. And until that den of snakes is exposed, and until men of courage actually rise up and speak up and say things that can't be unsaid, this world's going to continue to stay upside down. They do not fear God. They fear exposure. And maybe it's time we gave them both.
Yeah, it's time we gave them both is right. Now, I do want to remind you, folks, that, the number one goal of the globalists is to drastically lower the human population. Now, I know to some people they say, oh, come on, Dave, really? Okay, well, just do a little research. Remember the Georgia Guidestones? They got blown up about 2 years ago, but they were erected back in 1980. Nobody's really sure who was behind it, but there were 4 giant granite slabs that were placed on end, north, south, east, and west. And on each side of each of the 4 slabs, in 8 different languages, were basically the protocols that the globalist agenda had. And the first protocol, the first one, and I can quote this, it said, maintain humanity at no more than 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. That's 500 million. Well, we're just over 8 billion people now, so what are we going to do with 7.5 billion people? They got to clear out. Where they're going to go, I don't know, but that's the globalist agenda. They want to drastically lower the human population because, lower numbers are easier to control. And they want to do it by any and all means necessary. So if we turn the clock back about 5 years, remember COVID? I got a piece of paper here, and this came out from Blue Cross and Blue Shield, Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield. And you want to know why we're having so many problems? People don't want to talk about it anymore. But we need to understand why and how we got so many people out there to take the hokey-pokey thingy-dingy. I don't know why they didn't use common sense, but then again, hey, they do whatever the TV tells them to. I mean, Anthony Fauci was over there saying basically, trust the science. I am science. Yeah, and by the way, Vladimir Putin, wants to meet with President Trump. Trump wants to see if he can work out a peace deal between Russia and the Ukraine. And Putin's saying, look, I'll meet with you, but you drag that little rat Anthony Fauci with you. You bring him over here. Because they want to try him for crimes against humanity, and I tend to agree with him. But getting back to this document here from Blue Cross Blue Shield, I'm going to read here. It says, getting vaccinated against COVID-19 is one of the best and safest ways people can protect themselves and their families against the virus. As a participating practice in the COVID-19 Provider Vaccine Incentive Program, we recognize your hard work by offering incentives for helping patients make the choice to become vaccinated. Now, I just want to mention this little flyer was sent out to doctors all over the country. If they're participating in Blue Cross and Blue Shield, they all got this piece of paper here. Okay, so it goes on to say, the COVID-19 Vaccine Provider Incentive Program is open to you if you're a participating Kentucky primary care, care provider in the Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield Medicaid Anthem panels, a size of 25 or more members. Okay, this one was tailored for the state of Kentucky, I guess. Anyway, I'll just skip down to the bottom here. And it says here, let me see, the results will be calculated in 2 time periods from September 1st, 2021, which is the initial incentive payment, to December 31st, 2021, the final incentive payment. Okay, how you can qualify for the bonus, blah, blah, blah. It says here 30% if you get, if you go subscribe to the following rates, if you get 30% of the Anthem members vaccinated, you get $20 bonus per vaccinated member. If you get 40% of the Anthem members vaccinated, you get $45 bonus per vaccinated member. If you get 50% of the Anthem members vaccinated, you get $70 bonus per vaccinated member. Now remember, you've got health providers out there that are dealing with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. And if they were a member of this particular program and you could get them vaccinated, you get money. Let me see, 60% of Anthem members vaccinated, you get a $100 bonus per member. And if you get 75% of the Anthem members vaccinated, you get a $125 bonus per vaccinated member. My goodness. So they were giving financial incentives to the physicians if they can convince their patients to take the hokey-pokey thingy-dingy. So it wasn't about your health, folks. It was about making money. That's what was motivating these physicians and health providers to get that hokey pokey, by any means necessary, get that needle in their arm. Get that in there because I'm going to get some money. I got hundreds and hundreds of patients that I can stick them in the arm. That means I'm going to get hundreds and hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars. That's what drove them to do it. Anyway, I wanted to throw that out there. So what are the results? Well, we now know that those who did take the vaccine, many, many, many tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people are seeing adverse health effects. Now, again, I mentioned at the beginning of this particular dissertation that the globalist agenda is to drastically lower the human population by any and all means necessary. And what better way to lower the population than to sterilize people? Now, I mentioned, about a month ago, there was an Austrian, it's either Austrian or German doctor who recently passed away. His name was Dr. Burkholt, and he had done a study on males who had been vaccinated. And he was studying the male reproductive system and found that the sperm had been replaced with spike proteins. In other words, if a woman was to have sex with a vaccinated male, she's getting vaccinated. She's getting the spike protein shot right into her. And Dr. Naomi Wolf has been doing a lot of study on the female reproductive organs and what's happened to the women who got the hokey-pokey thingy-dingy. Here's what Naomi Wolf had to say.
I haven't gone into detail about the headlines from the Pfizer documents, but I guess people can read the book for that, except to say that it is the greatest crime against humanity in recorded history, unfortunately. And the Pfizer papers do have a specific focus on destroying reproduction. So that's why I wanted to believe for the longest time that it wasn't a depopulation agenda, but ultimately the evidence persuaded me within the Pfizer documents that that's exactly what it is. They knew they were blocking women's ovaries with lipid nanoparticles. They knew the lipid nanoparticles traversed the placenta. They determined that the deaths of fetuses were due to maternal exposure, quote unquote, to the vaccine. They knew that vaccinated women who were nursing their babies were making the babies sick. There are charts. This is why I say Mengele science. They're just charts showing this many thousands of babies are vomiting. This many thousands of babies have edema, which is swollen flesh. This many thousands of babies have convulsions. One baby died of multi-organ system failure from nursing vaccinated moms. And to this day, I'm sure in the Netherlands, all over Europe, all over the world, no one's telling vaccinated moms that they can risk their babies' lives by nursing them. But Pfizer knew. Pfizer knew in one section of the Pfizer documents there's an over 80% spontaneous abortion or miscarriage rate. Pfizer knows there's something in the semen of vaccinated men that is possibly dangerous to women or fetuses because they warn vaccinated men not to have intercourse with childbearing age women, and if they do, to use 2 reliable forms of contraception. They knew that the injection doesn't stay in the injection site, but it travels all over the body within 48 hours, accumulating in the adrenals, the spleen, the lymphatic system, the liver, crosses the blood-brain barrier, which causes a lot of the brain damage type reactions you're seeing, and accumulates in the ovaries. They knew that it was damaging the hearts of minors, and our lawyers' FOIA, meaning Freedom of Information Act, documents from the White House showing a scramble in April of 2021 to cover this up. But they just kept going that summer and into the next year, propagandizing parents to vaccinate their minors, knowing they were injuring or killing them.
Mm-hmm. And so she's just echoing the same research that Dr. Burkholdt had found. And this is all based upon the Pfizer documents that she got her hands on. Remember, Pfizer wanted all these documents to be sealed and buried for 75 years. Well, now we know why. Because Pfizer knew that what they were doing. It was deliberate. It was absolutely on purpose. And, what's his name? Starts with a B. Bourla. Yeah, Mr. Bourla, head of Pfizer. I'll give you one guess as to what ethnic group that he belongs to. Albert Bourla, yeah. They knew. This was absolute deliberate. It was with malice. And because, they have a plan. And, they want to lower the population. And again, we are all goyim. We are all subhuman. We are all dogs in their eyes. And they feel totally justified. Yeah. They think it's their biblical right. They are so deluded. And I look back at the Bible, I mean, how long does it take, how many centuries or even millennia does it take for a particular religious group to become corrupted? I mean, let's just look at, in Christianity, okay, Christ was around, 2,300 years ago, and since then we've had many different churches pop up, Christian churches. How many of them have corrupted themselves? I'll let you answer that. The major Christian religions. Okay, well, let's turn the clock back another 2,300 years before Christ. Okay, there was Judaism. Moses came down with the 10 Commandments, and the religion of Judaism was born. Okay, how many centuries went by? Is it possible that they corrupted themselves? Is it possible that's why Jesus was saying that the Pharisees had corrupted themselves? Is it possible? Is it possible that that's why Jesus said in Revelation that there are those who claim that they're Jews but they are not? Is it possible that that's why that he threw the money changers out of the temple? Could they corrupted themselves? I think maybe that might have some weight. That argument could probably be made. And so we have to take a look and say what's going on right now. Is history repeating itself? I think it is. I think that those corrupt individuals have weaseled their way into controlling positions, not just in this country, but around the world. And they've done so insidiously, deliberately, patiently, diabolically. And so now our country is now the United States of Israel. Convince me otherwise. Now, this is not to say that I hate Jews. No, the Jews who follow the Torah, I mean, after all, Jews and Christians have the same 10 commandments, and if we lived by them, well, there probably wouldn't be any problems. But there's another group out there that call themselves Jews, and they are not. And that's biblical. And unfortunately, like I said, they are insidious, they're diabolical, they're patient, and they put themselves into a position of power that I don't know if we'll ever get out of. But let me see, I forget who this woman is, but she basically explains the matrix that we're living in. Here it is.
Final goal is to eradicate humanity as we know it. Once you understand the final destination, it becomes much easier to look back and identify the psychological conditioning, the biological tampering, the cultural grooming, and the educational prepping that we have been subjected to for decades in preparation to making us accept a post-human future. Whether you care to accept it or not, we live in a hyper-controlled matrix where our perception of reality is meticulously planned, managed, and executed in order to control and steer us in whichever direction they wish. A weak, immoral, disconnected, ignorant, and unhealthy population is an easy target for the next stage, the creation of an entire generation of androgynous beings. It takes a lot of physical and psychological abuse to get an intelligent species like ours to agree to its own extinction.
That's about the size of it, and we're just going along with it. And again, I go full circle in the conversation. If you want to know who's to blame for the sorry state of affairs that we're facing right now in this country, we need look no further than the mirror, because we have to realize that it's up to us to make the difference. And maybe if there are any white hats and good guys out there that are in a position to be able to do something to stop this madness, well, maybe they're waiting for the American people to wake the hell up and get involved. And a lot of people are just saying, oh, trust the plan, trust Donald Trump. Trump is going to save everything. Well, there's a lot of people, myself included, are looking at some of the stuff that's going on and say, wait a minute, I didn't vote for this. Here's Kim Iverson basically addressing that situation.
I want to talk Epstein.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
There seems to be a big cover-up when it comes to that. I think all of them had lost a lot of credibility when it came to the Epstein files, and now they're trying to rebuild and distract. And quite frankly, I don't think it's working that well. What the heck is going on with this? To me, this is the most single consequential thing. It's not just the Epstein files, it's the grip that Israel has on our nation. And we are not a sovereign nation. We cannot be a sovereign nation if another nation is able to control us to the level that it appears that they're able to control us. And part of that is Epstein files, it seems. What is your take on the Epstein files and why they're not being released?
I suspect that when you're trying to figure out why the President of the United States can tolerate, arm, and enable genocide and force starvation, there has to be some sort of reason. And I'm afraid that Netanyahu has Trump over the barrel because he's got blackmail material having to do with the Epstein files that Trump may have been really, really prominently displayed in there, abusing underage girls. For God's sake, it's heinous enough to be enabling genocide.
Now, I don't know if it's been proven yet. I know that there's some social media posters out there that have gone through the Epstein files, and they say that there's nothing in there that incriminates Trump or indicates that he went to the island. But you also have to take a look at the financial background of Donald Trump, and you realize that, yes, there was one particular group that sort of bailed his sorry butt out financially when he was getting sued and all that. So I don't know. The jury's still out as far as, yours truly is concerned. But I got to say, Trump's got, Peter Thiel from Palantir on board, and that doesn't look good. He's got Larry Ellison from Oracle on board, and that doesn't look good. And I don't know what happened to Robert Kennedy, but now he's saying that he wants everybody to have a Fitbit within the next 4 years so they can monitor everything in your body. I don't think that looks good either. Anyway, the jury's still out as far as yours truly is concerned. And all I'm asking of you is to put your head on nice and tight and get involved. Contact your congressman and demand that they stop taking money from AIPAC. As a matter of fact, give it all back and serve the American people. That said, that's going to wrap it up for this week's installments of the WTF Reports. I thank you for your listenership, and I humbly and respectfully request that you visit our website and do some business with us. All right, you have a safe weekend. Until next week, God bless you all. Stay safe, stay free, and I'll see you on Monday.